my driver's license.
No, she only got about the lower corner of it, and I went online and ordered a new one yesterday. But, but it still didn't destroy any of the information or the barcodes or anything. So from a driving standpoint, I'm okay. I don't think I'd travel with it, so I went ahead and ordered a new one. But we'll see. How many people we got online now? What do we got? We got
Not
our
too
core
many.
group, huh? Jerry
Not
Engel.
too many so far.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear about speaking of driving, you hear about the fella hit the back, he hit the back of a car. The driver got out, it was a dwarf. And he was real mad. He walks over to him, he says, "I'm not happy." So really, which one are you?
Oh, Jerry.
Well, that's just to get your blood going.
We got noise in the room.
Well, actually, when's our talk going to start? About 1?
12:15 the meeting opens, or 12:10.
Yeah, but I mean, the speakers will come on about 1.
Yeah. Hi, Tom Crow.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
You
Happy
too.
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Hello, I'm Andrew Moran. How you guys
Hi.
doing?
Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the
Andrew,
meeting.
hello.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here remotely. See if I can turn the volume down a little.
You're coming through.
Welcome, Andrew. Good to see you.
Thank you. How you doing, Russ? Nice to see you.
I'm doing good. Yeah, everything's good.
Wonderful. Nice to be here, even though it's telecommunication, but this is the new way, I guess.
Hey,
It just
everybody.
is.
Yeah, may never shake a hand again in my lifetime.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon, all from Idaho.
Yes, I'm in Boise.
Really? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm up in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, nice.
That's the most beautiful place, Coeur d'Alene. Oh man, that hotel, stayed there a couple of years ago. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yep, enjoying our new digs up here.
Very nice. And my favorite hotel in the country is not far from you, over in Spokane, the Davenport.
Ah, okay, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's a very historic hotel. Lindbergh had a reception there, and it's a really cool place. You got to go have brunch there if you can. You feel like you're in the 1920s still.
Wow, I will check it out, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to publish an anthology of some, really cool hotels that I know by accident we got stuck with a car breaking down in Riverside, and we ended up staying in the Mission Inn. I never knew it existed. It's just an amazing place, and it's right. It's an couple hour drive from here. Never been there.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either. It's very, very strange, like a series of church-like, religious-like structures that were never built for any religious purpose, but the rooms are like high vaulted cells for a monastery with great big grand hallways and things that you would find in a church. The architecture is just amazing.
And monks or nuns never used it?
I don't know.
Wow. Well, they called it mission. Maybe I thought maybe because they called it mission that they did use it.
I don't think so. I mean, we took a tour of the place, and I know they told us the history, but it never was. It was never part of any congregation or any religious order. So whoever built it had this idea in mind to make a a Disneyland kind of a structure.
Well,
And then the other, I don't know, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of historic hotels around the country that are really interesting to stay at. But one of the other ones we stayed at was a Boulderado in Boulder, Colorado, which was pretty amazing. I think it dates back to the late 1800s or so.
Yes, I've also seen that one as well. It's beautiful with all the wood staircasing and stuff.
Has anybody stayed at the
Yeah, why
Mizpah
stay
in
at all?
Tonopah?
No.
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 That one's amazing too. It's got some great history and it's supposed to be haunted. And I drank a lot of wine waiting for the ghosts to show up, and they still didn't show up.
Maybe they just tell the story so you drink a lot of wine.
I guess. But
Yeah.
beautiful hotel. They've preserved it pretty good through the years.
Oh, that's nice. I love old
Andrew, what you
places.
should do is try drinking the same amount of wine and turn it into hard alcohol. Maybe you'll get to see them.
Yes, you can always be able to see them.
It's Samuel. Hi, Samuel.
Hi, Samuel.
You're muted, Michael and Samuel. Unmute yourself.
Hi, Samuel.
Karen Singer.
Karen singing.
Dance.
Can you see me?
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Say hi.
Hi, Karen.
Oh, look at him. Samuel, we're waiting for Santa Claus?
Not really.
You know,
Not
really?
really. He doesn't really know him.
He doesn't know yet? He doesn't
Yeah.
know yet.
No. A little.
Well, you're in
young.
for some great surprises, Samuel. Great surprises.
Yeah. But he
Yeah.
knows the Christmas tree and the lights. He likes that. And the
Yeah.
fire.
And the fire.
And the fire.
Oh, in the fire. How nice is that? How nice is that?
And the hot chocolate.
So
Sloppy.
the famous Groucho Marx line is, "There is no insanity clause." You know what I'm talking about?
That's cute.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the final calendar year 2020 meeting of the greatest Las Vegas Rotary Club in the world. I know there may be somebody somewhere in the world that's sad to see the year 2020 go, but I can't imagine who that might be or why. Inga, would you like to start us off with an invocation?
I'm on mid shift, so I apologize if I start slurring my words. Oh, let me do this. All right. Can you hear me now? Yes. All right, I got to use that command voice. All right. So invocation today, just kind of was reading through the Bible a little bit, and I was thinking about gifts and service and kind of that sort of thing, and how as Rotarians we always kind of give gifts, and that gift is our gift of service. And a lot of times we find that the more we give, the more we receive. I'm sure some of you are very familiar with that verse. A lot of people say it, but it kind of encompasses, to me at least, this whole year of, it's been really rough, and I am ready for 2020 to go personally. But Rotary, yeah. But one thing, even in my short time with Rotary, talking to my parents who are Rotarians, other people who are Rotarians, the one thing that's remained constant is that Rotarians are always giving. It doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter if there's a worldwide pandemic, someone needs help, and Rotarians are always there to give. And I was kind of reflecting on that when I was reading a passage from the Bible earlier this week from Acts. And it says, "In all things I have shown you that by working hard in this way, We must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus. It is more blessed to give than receive. And I think that kind of encompasses our mentality with this year of it was the time to give, and we receive that back in knowing that we've done good for the world. So if you'll join me in a short prayer. Lord, thank you for all the gifts that you have given us, among them the call to serve our fellow man. May we grow ever stronger in our resolve to help others and smile as we give from the bountiful blessings that you have given us. Amen.
And since this is our last time getting together in the year 2020, and we are all anxiously awaiting the arrival of 2021, perhaps for a patriotic song today, Kurt, you could tee us up something to get us out of 2020. Excellent choice by the Cook brothers. And if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You may be seated. For anybody who's wondering how that choral group got together last month in Ireland, which is shut down, and was able to sing without masks on, that's a program we're going to have to explore, that computer program of pasting people together. Now, hopefully we won't have to be pasted together next year, but in the meantime, it's something we'll look at. Thank you also to everyone who was involved in setting up the meeting today, for Kathy, once again, with the setup, Mike Newborn for acting as Sergeant at Arms again, Bert for your teardown every week, Susan for your work as our club scribe every week, and Tina for your work as our paparazzi every week. Thank you very much. Do we have any guests or visiting Rotarians today? Oh, we're going to keep Mike busy.
Idle hands.
I'll do the music first. Follow me this way.
Yes, ma'am.
We have today with us Jared Kavanaugh. He reached out to us for prospective membership. We have interviewed him. His wife may be interested as well, but we have him here today. He is in some kind of computer-related business or something. He does something with the government, but he's retired military. He was out at Nellis for 3 years. Nellis, not Creech. Nellis. And he's familiar with Wetzel. He heard about it. He believes he may have been one of the recipients of the cigars when he was on deployment. We're hoping we can snatch him. So welcome to Jared.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. We have two Zoom guests. We have Andrew Moran, our West Care corporate person online. So welcome, Andrew. We're glad that you were able to attend us. Hello. And we have Assad, who's a computer programmer. He's currently checking out our club. We've done interviews with Assad, and he's very interested in us and considering us for membership application in the first quarter of the year. Hi, Assad. Very nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting guests. Hello there.
Rats. I never can remember not to touch the microphone. My guest today is Karen Iglesias. She's from Cure for the Kids, and we met through Cure for the Kids, and she's here today to get a donation check from us, but she's also a new friend of mine. So this is Karen.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Kathy. Cure for the Kids is the only pediatric cancer treatment center in the state of Nevada, and we don't just treat children with clinical research, treatment, and long-term follow-up. We also treat children whose families have no insurance, lapsed or exhausted insurance. So we had our own St. Jude's here in Las Vegas. It's the best kept secret, but I thank Kathy for highlighting us to your club and really appreciate your support, especially at this time of the pandemic.
And thank you for your service and thanks for coming, visiting.
No touching. I have with me my friend Chance, who just moved back to Las Vegas from Chicago, and he's currently looking for some employment, maybe in the finance sector. So I thought, what a better way to meet Las Vegas elite than coming to lunch and enjoying lunch at Lowry's. So, thanks.
Makes sense to me.
Again, my name is Chance. Just moved back here from Chicago. I'm glad for this year to be over, and just looking to network.
We're back. I need you to have a slice of Gino's East Chicago Classic. Can you do that for me? Okay. Only one more? Also, from the islands, I brought a guest, an island very close to yours as well. You might recognize the accent. My friend Mark, I can't pronounce his last name, so I'll just call him Mark O. He's the head of the pandemic task force here in Las Vegas, and he does some other stuff too. Go ahead. No touching.
Okay, no touching. Yeah. Thanks very much for having me here. So I'm the medical director for the Recuperative Care Center. I oversee basically coordination for homeless healthcare for the city. We run a 40-bed unit, basically identifying and then picking the most medically vulnerable, fragile patients off our streets and bring them in underneath our roof and try and transition them out of homelessness. And then I'm also the tactical physician for the Metro SWAT team and then the president for Red Rock Search and Rescue. So kind of fairly entwined in the city. So thank you all for having me here. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of the few things that you do.
And do we have any visiting Rotarians? And do we have anybody on the Zoom who has not already been introduced? All right, well, in that case, let's have a big round of applause for all of our guests and all of our visiting Rotarians. Brock, you didn't want to be introduced as a visiting Rotarian? Kim, do we have some Paul Harris recognitions to announce today?
Yes, we do.
Hi, everyone, and for those of you who are visiting, so in Rotary, we recognize individuals who make annual contributions to our Rotary International Foundation with a Paul Harris Award. And today, it's my privilege to recognize Mr. Jerry Engel, who is joining us in cyberspace. Hey, Jerry. So we want to recognize you, hey, Jerry, for your Paul Harris +2. And we appreciate all your support and what you do for Rotary. And so here is your virtual, sorry, there we go. So here's your virtual +2, and we'll be sure to mail it to your house. And I'm not sure if Rob Tellis is here on cyberspace, but Rob, we wanted also to give you a shout out for your +1. It should be at your home by now. So congratulations to both gentlemen for your investment in the Rotary International Foundation.
Hey, Ken, throw it, I'll catch it.
Hey, Jerry, you want to catch it here? There you go.
Thank you.
And I thought I saw Jim Hunt on there a minute ago.
He was.
I'm here, Mr. President.
Jim, did you have some news about being a TV celebrity on Channel 13?
Oh, no, that wasn't me. That was Mr. Williams and the Wheelchair Foundation. We had some news, sad news, but just tells you the impact that we're having with the wheelchairs. I delivered a wheelchair on November 7th to a lady who is a very nice lady who is suffering from cancer. And she was a friend of one of the Channel 13 news anchors. And that news anchor got in touch with John to let him know that sadly, just recently she passed away, but that she was using that wheelchair every single day since the day that we delivered it on November 7th. So just want to say that to let everybody know, please keep spreading the word. If there are folks out there that need a wheelchair, get in touch with me and John Williams, and we will get them a brand new wheelchair. We want to make sure they're taken care of.
Well, thank you, Jim. Since you're pushing it over to John, we should let him come maybe say a few words before we find him.
Did you bring a mask? Did you bring a mask? No.
Make it worthwhile.
Just want to say thanks to the Rotary Club. You guys are my backbone. I mean, volunteers are everything. Since I'm the only employee in the state of Nevada for the Wheelchair Foundation, if it wasn't for Mr. Hunt and you guys, we wouldn't be going anywhere. And I did get a check from Richard Harris Law Firm, so we are getting some wheelchairs. And next week we're going to be on Telemundo. But we're going to get busy, Mr. Hunt. We're going to get busy. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, John. And I don't know what number Telemundo is, but if you were a star on Channel 13, I guess I'll thank you for your $130,000 donation to the Rotary Foundation.
Mr. President, we also have some folks tuning in via Facebook. We've got Scott Moran, and we have Deborah Delanoy, I believe that's, I hope I pronounced that correct. And Deborah loves the lovely voices. So I'm sure she's talking about yours, Mr. President.
Thank you. Next, Mike, President-elect Mike, I think you had a grant to present? As the President-elect, I'm the chairman of the Grants Committee, and Kathleen Mahan sponsored a grant that I'd like her to tell about, and then she's going to introduce our guest.
Thank you. Actually, I've had a lot to do with Cure for the Kids over the decades because I found, despite being an ophthalmologist, a lot of kids with cancer over the decades. And so my friend Jonathan Bernstein was in charge of Cure for the Kids, so that's how that came about. And Karen Iglesias is their vice president in charge of fundraising, and I met her through the Assistance League, so that's how that all evolved. Anyway, she's here today to get a grant from us for Cure for the Kids. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is involved with Las Vegas Rotary Club for all your efforts on behalf of our community. If I can just share, just for 30 seconds, we had a little boy recently who was fighting cancer, and he needed to go and have a bone marrow transplant. Couldn't get a match. By the time they found a match for him, and we did the bone marrow event drive to get a match, he was invited to Stanford University to get the transplant. Very complicated. His mother lost her job and they lost their insurance. And he was unable to go. Can you imagine being a parent, telling your child all those years of waiting for a match, and now you don't have the funds to go? So the clinic, we put in place our charity care program. We put in place transportation funding. We put in place a place for them to stay. He went and he had his bone marrow transplant. This is life-saving work. Thank you for supporting us in our efforts. Thank you so much. Thank you very much indeed.
Rosalie, tuning in on the Facebook feed, we've got Elisa Reinbold, and she would love to learn more about becoming a Rotarian. So she's on the Facebook feed and just kind of weighed in. She'd like to learn more. And I'll stick you on her.
Well, while we're giving out money, the winner of the chance to try to pull a joker and have enormous fame and fortune. The winner this week is somebody in the room. Ticket number 8489632.
I have it, Richard. I have it.
You doubled your money. And for the Lowry Bucks, the winner is, someone on the Zoom screen. The excitement mounts. Everyone on the Zoom screen is now paying close attention. Ticket number 8489682, and it is held by Karen Wisenhunt. There you are, Karen. Well, I'm thrilled to say for the first time in a long time, we have some time left for fellowship. So please enjoy the conversation with the people at your table, and we will get to the guest speakers shortly.
That's funny that I.
You're muted, Karen.
I said it's funny I won the Lowry Bucks. Tom's at Lowry's having lunch right now.
So I'm taking some scribe notes, and the last time I used that template, you won the Lowry Bucks too, so I didn't have to change anything.
Cool.
Thanks. You're saving, making it easy for me. I won the Lowry Bucks once. That was a great day.
The food there is so good. The last week, those pork chops were amazing. That's a good present to win.
Boy, everybody's coming out of the woodwork. We had 18 people on the Zoom call, and we have 4 on Facebook. We don't often get that good attendance in person. Who is the speaker today? I don't think I got an email for the wheel. Did anybody else?
I did not.
I'm a speaker.
Yeah. Oh.
I think we
Okay.
have three. I think we have 3 or 4 speakers, Stu. It's all going to talk about tradition.
Okay. Yeah, the usually you get the email copy of the wheel before the meeting, but it's lately last couple times it's been like the day after, which is okay. Yeah, I don't know if the imminent arrival of the vaccine is putting everybody in a better mood. I got my sleeve rolled up. I'm waiting.
I've heard people already getting it and they're all excited that they got it. They don't know if they got the placebo or the real one, but so it's starting to get out there in the community, which is good.
Yeah, Jim Cole was part of the trial, but I'm not sure he's been told one way or the other whether he got the high test or the water. I guess you should be able to tell because the actual vaccine gives you a reaction. So of course, New York, they're not going to allow it until Biden takes office. That's what I understand, because they don't trust Trump's blessing of it.
Tom Crow, when is Brian coming into town?
Probably not till Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be nice to see the babies.
Oh, what do you do? You have an instant test before he walks in the house, or?
We'll probably be wearing masks in the house. Yeah. At least for a few days.
Yeah, one thing I haven't fully understood, they apparently a fairly reliable instant test has been available for about a couple months, but that would, like, if that was widely deployed, that would change everything. You go to some portal, you wait 15 minutes, and then you know that you're safe before you walk through the portal. I mean, that would pretty much almost get us back to normal, I think, if it really was near ubiquitous.
Yeah, it's FDA approved and it's an antigen test, and it costs I think it's $29.
Oh, so it's still fairly expensive. What is it, a finger stick, or is it saliva, or?
It uses saliva, but it's still
breathe it?
it's still an antigen test. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I had to go down to Arizona about 3 months ago, and I had to get a test 3 days before it was a finger stick test. When I got to the other end, they wouldn't accept it because they said it was so unreliable. Blood test. They had to repeat it with the swab up your nose thing.
Okay, I'm outside. Can you see my hummingbird behind me? Oh, he's not.
Is that
there
a
right
real
now.
one?
Oh yeah,
Is that a real?
that's a
Oh,
real
no
one.
kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were. I didn't know they were around here. Is that are they common in the area?
Well, I've been here 19 years and I thought they went away at winter time, but I've never had a feeder up before. This year I have a feeder and I got at least 2 of them.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of hummingbirds
down in
here.
the San Diego Zoo, it's almost kind of hidden because but near the front gate where you walk in, there's a room that's completely screened on all sides. You go through two doors to get in it, and it's nothing in there but hummingbirds. But I think they're about 4 or 5 different species that I didn't realize, and they're so well camouflaged that when you first get in there, it's not till you actually see them fluttering around that you notice that they're there. But they got them in various sizes, from small, medium, and well, the largest one is still pretty small. But I had no idea there were so many varieties, and I didn't know that there was a place until we stumbled upon it down in the zoo.
It's the only
When you
bird
say
that
zoo, do you mean
can
the strip?
fly backwards.
Yeah, it can stay in one place like a helicopter.
hmm
Yeah, if you
Oh,
go up
Arlene.
to Mount Charleston at the lodge, then they have all kinds of hummingbirds around that lodge up there in the summertime.
Yeah.
Oh, I could actually see yours, Karen.
Yeah, he's greedy. He's here a
There
lot.
he is.
I think he eats twice as much in the winter months.
So what do they eat? What's in the feeder?
Just sugar water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Normally would be nectar, right, from a plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. The latest edition of a little journal I get called Science News. It's kind of a synopsis of stuff from a bunch of different things, but the current one is got the evolution of birds. They've now traced the genomes of all of them back to what was a common species from an ancient, now extinct species up through the eagle, showing how each of them kind of evolved and where they split off. It's really pretty fascinating to see how these different critters all evolved, including us, right, from some early mammal. Let's see if what did I do with that? No, I don't have it nearby.
So did John and
Still
Jimmy
have
go
not
back to
developed.
Boston?
No, John and Jimmy went to Fort Lauderdale.
To live?
Yep, he went to live right across from his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gone probably now about 2 weeks.
You know, when he first moved here, he was complaining that he didn't have any friends here, and now that he does, he moves again.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a necessity. He was getting on, and his daughter was coming here too often, and it was very hard for her. So I felt very bad about him going, but I never told him that because, you know, John gets super hyper, as we all know. And I miss him terribly. I really do. Miss him terribly. So.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, miss him terribly. So what's happening with you?
Staying as healthy as possible. Trying to get this book out, and you know, still trying to get involved in our church. Our church has opened up more.
Oh, really?
To more people now. So I'm hoping that'll make Christmas a lot better for a lot more people.
Yeah. Which church are you in, Arlene?
St. Francis of Assisi in Henderson.
Oh, okay.
On Green Valley Parkway.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been able to go back to church yet. It bothers me. I watch it on television, but
Yeah.
I'm still afraid to go back yet. So
So, Arlene,
I have to wait.
If you If you access YouTube at St. Francis of Assisi, sometimes I lecture there.
Oh, okay, YouTube. Okay, I'll have to try it because I
Yeah.
just go to channel 12 on a Sunday morning and get the mass from there, you know.
So,
But I'd love to see you.
Arlene, can you hear me?
Yes,
So you're one of the speakers today.
yes,
Yeah, so you're
My phone's ringing.
the Catholicism.
yes.
Okay, who are the other speakers? Do you know?
Brock and Tom Thomas.
What's Brock going to speak on? And he's handling the Mormon end?
He's Catholic as well. I met him at my church. So he's probably going to talk about his Catholic traditions.
Oh, I see. So you have two Catholics. Okay. And then we have, there's got to be a fourth, I think. So that's a Protestant covered.
I can hardly hear you.
Is the Protestant covered?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I know Tom is Mormon.
Who? Yeah,
Tom.
I know Tom is Mormon. Well, maybe he'll give, I think he said there were 4 speakers, so we had about 8 minutes each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Brock converted to a Protestant.
Well,
Andrew, I have a question for you.
Yes, sure.
Does West Care take donations of women's business attire?
Yes, that we take everything, whatever, you're willing to donate, this time around, these times people need it the most, so yeah, you can bring it down. They have a place at Foundation that accepts them.
That's good because I referred somebody over to you this week.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought you took business attire, so.
Yeah, they do. Sometimes they'll have tea parties and things of that sort. So yeah, that would be great.
Okay, great. Hope they call.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that so many of the religious institutions have started to put their stuff online. But I just read an interview that was done in a local paper from Boston, and they'd gone around and interviewed a bunch of the larger institutions, and they're saying that they get so much participation on it now that even when things get back to normal, they're intending to continue to broadcast or have two-way interactive sessions. So I think they're getting larger congregations virtually now than they would normally get during the regular.
Not all, but some of the various traditions for the holiday season, this holiday season. And I've been warned that I need to start out with a warning that we're not trying to proselytize anybody. We don't want to change your religious beliefs. Whatever your beliefs are, those are your beliefs. God bless you. But we thought it would be interesting for everybody to hear what some of the other traditions, if they're not your traditions, might be. So without further ado, Tom, do you want to start us off?
Thank you, President. We thought it would be fun just to look at some of the traditions that have built up over the centuries in the Western world that came from religious traditions. And in many ways, we don't even tie them to those traditions. So we called upon 3 of our wonderful club members to teach us, and we're going to start off with the lovely Arlene Sarah, and then we will go to Jerry Engel. Both of them are going to deliver their presentations via Zoom, and then batting cleanup is, of course, Brock Frazier, who will conclude for us. So I'd like to thank all 3 of these members for taking the time to do thoughtful research and really think through what they might present to the fellow Rotarians today. So we will begin with Arlene.
All right. Thank you, Tom, for giving me the opportunity to do this. I'm not going to generalize the Catholic religion to everyone, because most people are familiar that Christmas is centered around the birth of Christ. I'm going to tell you about my religious traditions during Christmas time. So as some of you know, I am from Maine. I'm from Madawaska, Maine, a very small town in northern Maine. So if this is the US, and I have a presentation, and this is Maine, the star at the top is where Madawaska is. So we're right on the Canadian border. And on the Canadian side is Edmundston, New Brunswick, and it has a population of about 16,000, and Madawaska is about 4,000. So we have cold, snowy Christmases most of the time. I come from a family of 6 children, and these are my parents, Camille and Aurore Sirois. And my dad was a carpenter and my mom is a homemaker. So this is us, my older brother Chanel, me, Ron, Louise, Richard, Doreen. Must have been taken around Christmas time because Doreen is eyeing the doll here. So my mother had boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. All right. So we are staunch, perhaps even stubborn Catholics because our Acadian ancestors were persecuted for our faith. Tree decorating was usually done a week or two before Christmas in front of the big picture window so that everyone could see. And we had an aluminum one. Mom loved the aluminum one because it didn't make a mess. And it came with one of those electric rotating plastic wheels that displayed the tree in 3 colors, red, green, and yellow. And it's cheesy now, but we thought it was high tech back then. The highlighting of decorating the tree was not the topper, but the crèche. And I have that crèche. It was bequeathed to me by my mom of all the kids, and the original box. I've been told by my parents that it was purchased in 1950. So it's essentially 70 years old, and they bought it from Sears Roebuck. I think they probably ordered it. So my dad would carefully take it out of the box once the tree was decorated, and all of the children's eyes were set upon this box, and he would carefully take it out, and we would follow him to the base of the tree where he would put it to reveal and open it to reveal Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus and the 3 wise men. So I have this crèche here. And I still use it every year. So we would lay on the floor gazing at the scene. We were never taught about Santa Claus. For us, Christmas was all about the birth of Jesus. So just before Christmas, usually a Santa Claus went about the neighborhoods in the bed of a pickup truck, throwing out candy to the kids. But to us, he was just a cartoon character that could have been just as easily been Mickey Mouse. We also knew that our parents bought our gifts for us. We each got $10 worth. If you had 2 gifts, we knew it amounted to $10. If you had 1 gift, it was $10-ish. The gifts were always opened on Christmas Eve because Mom thought it was too much to do that on Christmas morning because she had to get all the kids ready to go to church. So we usually had on Christmas Eve chicken stew with dumplings. It gave us a chance to, the next morning when we went to church, if we had new clothing, we would wear that to church, but we were all dressed up and we would kind of look around the church to see if our friends had something new, but we weren't allowed to turn around in church, so that was kind of hard to do. Church was always decorated and had a bigger, better creche. After church, we always came home to the smells of our dinner. Our biggest meal was usually at noon at home. We only ate out in a restaurant once a year, and that was after potato harvest. School was let out every year for the kids to help with potato harvest. Typical fare on Christmas Day was a whole chicken stuffed with a meat stuffing and mashed potatoes, because we were in potato country, vegetables, and buckwheat pancakes called ploys. 3 times a year we had soda: Thanksgiving, Christmas, and summer picnic. Finally, after dinner, in the afternoon, relatives would come by. We gave them leftover chicken stew, pate, and ploys. We always played music and sang. Both my parents played guitar. Other relatives played the fiddle or the accordion. Imagine lively New Orleans style music. Kids played with their new toys. I wanted to thank Tom for asking me to do this, because it really truly took me back home. The end.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Thank you, Arlene. That was really very warming. I'm going to talk about Jewish traditions and start out by telling you that a symposium was called by a group, and the moderator was going to handle 3 religions. It was a priest and a minister and a rabbi. And the moderator said, well, to start with, I'm going to give a topic, and we'll ask each of the respective religions to tell us how they handle the topic. So our first topic is, when does life begin? And the priest gets up and he says, in the Catholic religion, we believe that life begins at the moment of conception. And he sits down. And then the minister gets up. In the Protestant religion, we believe that life begins after the first trimester, when the fetus is formed. And then the rabbi gets up and says, well, in the Jewish religion, we believe that life begins when the children leave home and the family dog dies. Anyway, let's talk about Jewish traditions. Jews are an ancient people whose identity, language, religion, and culture go back 3,833 years. Twice as old as Christianity and 3 times older than Islam. God chose Abraham to carry his laws to all the peoples of the world. Some 500 years later, God dictated his laws to Moses, which today is called the Torah, and consists of the 5 books of Moses, also known as the Old Testament. The first book of the Torah is called Genesis. And God said to Abraham, I will make of you a great nation. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. Although Jews never built a vast empire like the Greeks and Romans, they had a deep influence on the rise of Christianity, Islam, and then other pivotal elements of human history. Rabbi in Hebrew means teacher. The well-known Rabbi Hillel was once asked to describe Judaism standing on one foot. His answer, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. The common written and spoken language of the Jews is Hebrew, which is indigenous to the land of Israel. While ancient, it has been revitalized in Israel as a modern language. Jews believe that the soul that God placed in each of us is pure, and that each of us is responsible for our behavior during life and will be judged by God when our life ends. Jews also are still awaiting the coming of the Messiah. Now, I'd like to share some statistics today. There are over 7 billion people living on Earth. 34%, 2.4 billion are Christians. 23%, 1.6 billion are Muslims. And 0.2%, 14.7 million are Jews. That's after losing 6 million in the Holocaust. So let's review some traditions of our major Jewish holidays. Passover is 7 days, and Jews relive the experiences of what it was like to be a slave in Egypt 3,332 years ago. At our Passover Seder, we relate the story of Moses being born, growing up in the house of the Pharaoh. We eat bitter herbs to remind us how life was so bitter as a slave. We eat matzah to remind us how the Hebrews had to leave Egypt quickly and did not have time for the baking of bread to rise. We recite each of the 10 plagues that God, through Moses, brought upon the Egyptians to force Pharaoh to allow Moses to lead the Hebrews out of Egypt. If you saw the movie 10 Commandments, it depicts well the Passover story. Another holiday which we now celebrate is Hanukkah, which is 8 days. Alexander the Great established his empire of the ancient world around 332 BC, which included Israel. For over 160 years, the Greeks and Jews got along, and after that, the king tried to Hellenize all the Jews, and the Jews rebelled and drove the Greeks out of Israel. When they wanted to rededicate the temple, there was only enough sacred oil to keep the perpetual light in the temple lit for 1 day, and the nearest supply of oil was 4 days away. The miracle of Hanukkah is that the 1-day supply of oil in the temple lasted 8 days, and we light a candelabra for 8 days, give presents, eat potato pancakes with applesauce and sour cream, and Hanukkah is a happy holiday full of games and children to play. We also celebrate Purim, which is 2 days. It's another happy holiday which could have ended in disaster for the Jews. In the 5th century BC, the Persian king unknowingly signed an order allowing his viceroy Haman to annihilate all the Jews. The plot became known to the king's wife Esther, who was Jewish. When she learned about the plot, she set a trap for Haman, who was hanged when all the facts became known to the king. Special foods and festivities commemorate Queen Esther's saving of the Jews. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's 10 days. This is the holiest holiday of the year. Rosh Hashanah means the new year, followed by 10 days of repentance. Jews believe God opens his book on every person on earth, and over the 10 days of repentance, God will decide who shall live and who shall die in the coming year. But prayer, penitence, and charity during these 10 days can avoid the severe decree. At the end of the Yom Kippur, God closes his book of judgment. The Torah, our most important tradition. As I said before, God chose Abraham to bring his laws to all the people of the world 3,833 years ago. And 5 years later, dictated his laws to Moses, who wrote them down in the Torah. We Jews believe that Torah is God's law and can never be changed, not like our Constitution, which was written by man and amended over time. Our Torah may be subject to different interpretations, but remains unchanged, and to all Jews is our tree of life. In closing, may I share with you what some non-Jews have said about the Jews. This is John Adams, our second president. I will insist that Hebrews have contributed more to civilized men than any other nation. I believe that fate has ordained the Jews to be the most essential instrument for civilizing the nations. They are the most glorious nation that ever inhabited the earth. The famous Leo Tolstoy said this: "What is the Jew? What kind of unique creature is this whom all the rulers of all the nations of the world have disgraced and crushed and expelled and destroyed, persecuted, burned, and drowned, and who, despite his anger and fury, continues to live and to flourish? What is this Jew whom they never succeeded in getting to deny and disown his religion and cast aside the faithfulness of his ancestors? The Jew is a symbol of eternity. He is the one who for so long has guarded God's prophetic message and transmitted it to all mankind. A people such as this can never disappear. The Jew is eternal. He is the embodiment of eternity." And lastly, Mark Twain. If statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 0.2% of the human race. Properly, the Jew ought hardly to be heard of, but he is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his commercial importance is extravagantly out of proportion to his smallness of his bulk. His contributions to the world lists of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine, and abstruse learning. Abstruse, by the way, is like Einstein's theory of relativity, and they're way out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in this world in all the ages and has done it with his hands tied behind him. And I added this parenthetically, since 1905, 22% of the Nobel Prize recipients were Jews, and an estimated 2.8 billion lives have been saved by Jewish medical and scientific discoveries. And by the way, the two vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine, the CEO of Pfizer is Jewish, and Moderna is an Israeli company. So Mark Twain concludes, the Egyptians, Babylonians, and Persians rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, then faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greeks and Roman followed and made a vast noise, and they are gone. Other people have sprung up and held their torch high for a time, but have burned out, and they sit in twilight now or have vanished. The Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his parts, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert and aggressive mind. All things are mortal, but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? Thank you.
Oh, I thank Tom for including me in this panel, if you will. But I tell you what, I was sitting there listening to Jerry, and I'm thinking how we might have gotten shortchanged. I mean, he had, you know, a 7-day holiday, and then there was a 2-day holiday, and there was a 10-day holiday. I'm thinking, we got to change something. Well, then it dawned on me that we have Advent, which is the 4 weeks before Christmas, and we celebrate, particularly the third week when we lit the third candle, which is pink, a celebration that we're past the halfway mark to Christmas. And then we have 40 days of Lent. Now, I don't know if you want to call Lent a celebration. You can make that your own interpretation. I belong to the same parish that Arlene does. Holy Spirit, we're butt up against the campus of Bishop Gorman. And a little bit about our Christmas part. We have the night before, on the 24th, we have Mass, which we seat 1,700. And we have Masses on Christmas Eve at 4, 6, 8, 10, and midnight. And then 2 more Christmas Day. And those Masses are packed. Celebration of, as we've heard Arlene talk about, the birth of Jesus Christ. And then we turn around on Christmas Day, and Santa has come, and we have gifts, and the tree is packed underneath, and where it's all about, mailing gifts, ordering on Amazon, having it shipped to grandma, and, all of it. It's all this gift stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you that at least here in the U.S. and where we celebrate Christmas and the trees and the gifts under the trees, we don't have it quite right. Some of you, many of you know that I grew up in Puerto Rico and in Mexico. I grew up in Puerto Rico until I was about halfway through high school, and we moved to Mexico, and we lived in Mexico until, my parents were there long after I was out of college. And we have, obviously, in Latin countries, we're, predominantly 98% Roman Catholic. And yes, we recognize
in Puerto Rico, in Mexico, we recognize Christmas. But that's not when the gifts were really given. On the 25th, when we believe Christ was born, and that's what we celebrate, we've all heard of that magnificent star in the sky. Bless you. That magnificent star in the sky celebrating the arrival of the Christ child. And at that time, shepherds came in from the fields and so forth, but there were the three wise men who came from the east, from the Orient. And they saw the star and they started to follow it. And it took them until January 6th. It took them 12 days to get to Bethlehem. And they were carrying the true gifts, the gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. So in Latin countries, yes, we know about Christmas Day and a couple of gifts, but we do it differently. We celebrate Three Kings Day, the true day of gift giving. And it's a national holiday. I mean, no businesses are open. We start out with roasting a pig on a spit, starting about 6 o'clock in the morning off under, real low coals. The men get out there and they take their turns turning. I'm not sure if they drink the beer first or they turn the spit first, but it's quite an event until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon when we have big feast. Another part of that celebration is goat stew. And I think they don't waste any part of the goat. I'm not sure if the hoofs go in there, but regard, goat stew is a delicacy. And during the day, it's kind of like one of our 4th of July, Memorial Day type celebrations where we have sack races and we have all kinds of events. The people that play golf, and there's archery contests and all this kind of stuff. And then about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we had, our big meal. But Three Kings Day is the big celebration, and that's what we believe is the true time for gift giving, when the three wise men arrived in Bethlehem. Thank you.
Rock, thank you. I appreciate that you would bring the Navidad, the Latino America into the room. I spent 2 years serving in Colombia on my mission, and I fell in love with the traditions of that country during the holidays. I just wanted to finish. I appreciate that we got to see glances into the lives of individuals and what their traditions were, and I hope we each think about the rich traditions that we grew up with and are hopefully instilling within our children. Because so many of these traditions are rich and will only exist if they're passed on. Because they're certainly not sold in stores. They don't come through any commercial means. They come from our heart and what we learned from our grandparents. And I'm going to just finish with a story that actually took place right after one of the Jewish holidays that Jerry talked about, Yom Kippur. This story, for me, is the essence of what the holidays are about, as was so beautifully portrayed in our invocation. So this is a story that was told by Rabbi Jonathan Hodson, who is one of the rabbis of Temple Beth Shalom, which is the synagogue that's in Summerlin, not far from Arlene and Brock's church. And poor Rabbi Hodson was very despondent the day after Yom Kippur because he had tried to celebrate this Day of Atonement with the members of his synagogue via Zoom, and it just didn't go so well. So he heads off to the grocery store, and he writes in this letter that he sent out to all of the members of his synagogue about running into two Mormon missionaries, two elders, in the candy aisle, of all places. I could have told him they would have been there if he was going to go to Smith's. But he knew that these missionaries were not able to do what they had been sent out into their missions to do. They couldn't go out as you see them on the streets talking to people and trying to share the gospel. So he was curious as to what they had been up to. Went up and approached them, and they chatted for a while. He found out that actually they were only assigned to be in Las Vegas after they had had to leave Brazil, where they had been called to serve and had been serving for months. But with COVID, they were all brought home. All of the missionaries from my church were brought home. In some cases, like in the Philippines, it required sending 5 757s through the Philippines to bring all of those missionaries home. And then they volunteered to go back out. And once again, an assignment was made. And these young men came to Las Vegas. So the rabbi said, "What have you been up to? I know you can't do what you were called to do." And so they started going through where we've been working at 3 Square. We're teaching English classes to immigrants. Where we found the community of Portuguese-speaking people in Las Vegas, and we're just trying to serve them. Everything we're doing now is just, how can we serve the people here? So the rabbi started explaining what his synagogue was doing of the same thing, just trying to do the best they could to serve others. And to that, after he got done explaining to these two 20-year-old young men what they had been up to, one of the missionaries said to the rabbi, "The Jewish people continue to serve as an inspiration to us all." And this kind of took him aback, because these young men obviously knew a lot about what he was going through. They had asked him all about Yom Kippur and how they celebrated the holidays. So here's how he ends this letter to the synagogue, the members of his synagogue. Now, of course, any naysayer could point out the numerous theological disagreements between the two faiths displayed in the candy aisle that day. But I think they would be missing the point. Jewish tradition teaches that we are to set an example for all other peoples. But I think it also demands that we be motivated by the behavior of others as well. What can we learn from them to make our world a better place? In a year where everything has been turned on its head, I think God is encouraging us to find inspiration in the most unlikely of places. And I just leave that thought with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom, and Arlene, and Jerry, and Brock. Thank you very much. Did you want to, we have just a few minutes if you want to take questions.
I have a quick question for Brock. What day does Three Kings Day fall on? Is that also on the 25th? Three Kings Day? 6th of January. Mr. President, did you want to go to the panel abroad first?
Anybody on the Zoom have a question for any of the presenters? No. Wow. Any other questions in the room?
Just a comment, Brock, on the Epiphany. I'm Byzantine, right? Catholic. So our Christmas is January 6th. Yeah.
I just wanted to say I was kind of spoiled as a kid because I got presents during Hanukkah. I got presents for Christmas, and I got presents for what we called Old Christmas, which was January 6th. And finally I said to my grandfather, what is Old Christmas? So he hauled me over to the cathedral and had the priest explain to me what Old Christmas was. And so in honor of the topic today, I'm going to give some Hanukkah gelt to the club because Hanukkah gelt, of course, is money, and that's what we get for Hanukkah gifts. And my grandfather used to give me 18 silver dollars, so I'll give $180 to Rotary.
Thank you very much. I was born in the wrong house. I got Christmas.
Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'll fess up that none of the speakers talked about my favorite holiday tradition, which is we would have all our kids, all our grandkids, my brother-in-law and his family, my sister-in-law and her family, my parents when they were alive. And so we had people stuffed into every nook and cranny in our house for the holiday season. And pretty quickly we ran out of energy and time to amuse everybody, so the television would come on. And we would watch the same movies year after year after year. And you probably could have guessed that if you read my message in the wheel today. One of the movies that we watched every single year, of course, was George Bailey and It's a Wonderful Life. And up until I joined Rotary, I didn't realize that it was a story about Rotary. So if you haven't watched It's a Wonderful Life, I would definitely encourage you to watch it and tell me why Rotary has never claimed George Bailey, because he is the epitome of a good Rotarian. And with that, enjoy your holidays.
Merry Christmas, Zoomers. We'll see you all in the new year.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you all.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Stay healthy.
Merry
Happy
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Same. Merry Christmas, my dear. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Best meeting of all, I think.
It was a beautiful meeting. Beautiful. It was perfect for this time of year, just perfect. Yep.